Okay, I think they're ready for us. So let's get it. So welcome everyone. Thank you to another episode of We Got Next. I am one half of the show We Got Next. My name is Christian Hayes, aka AO Shifty. It's gonna be me today running it. So I'm gonna try and do my best Colin Coward impression with the herd. Shout out Steven Springer. Hopefully the little one gets well soon so we can get you back, but also for our health, because I know that this is flu season and just a lot of illnesses. So hopefully both the kids hang in there and get better, but we'll hold it down for you. Another thing I want to say is just shout out to Pops. Today is his birthday. So happy birthday. It'll be a day late probably when this comes out, but I still want to say happy birthday. Thank you every single year for just keeping me humble and just showing me the right way to stay on path and just help me to learn a lot from you. So I do appreciate that. Just getting into it, I want to say thank you, everyone, day in and day out, for always watching us on the show. Steven and I talk about this all the time. You all are the reason why we do this. We continue to see the subscriber count go up. We continue to see, shout out to them haters. We've started to see the haters continue to increase as well. But it's something just overall we joke around about it. But thank you to everyone for supporting us. Thank you to everyone for end up tuning in, whether it's for quick slants, whether it's for the crypto reviews, whether it's even just for our regular podcast episodes that we do when Steve and I basically just shooting the shit, or if we even have somebody on the show. But we appreciate if there's ever anybody you guys want us to bring on the show, just let us know. We have a special guest today, and we are so excited for him to come on. We have Valerian from Pop Network. So this is one that you're not going to want to miss. There's going to be a lot of exciting content that we end up talking about today on the show as well. For all of you that don't know what We Got Next is, We Got Next is here to help bridge the gap between the sports world and the cryptocurrency realm. We will dive into other financial sectors and fields too. We do talk about the stock market at times. We talk about real estate at times. We are hoping to end up bringing on some people in those realms too, just so you guys can end up learning more about it. We'll bring on some people in the sports world too. So just tune in each and every week that we end up doing it. Make sure to follow us on our We Got Next Twitter handle. Anyone out there that wants to end up coming on the show, let us know. So we like talking to everybody that's out there. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can stay up to date on when we're going to release new content out there. Also, make sure to listen to us on Anchor. Getting into the news, we're going to start with the sports because there's going to be a lot of cryptocurrency information that we do bring out on this episode. So for starters, Richard Sherman, congratulations. He signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's going to hopefully strengthen their backfield that they have there. Richard Sherman, a lot of you probably know him from the Legion of Boom when he was out of Seattle. He's an NFL champion. But then he also went to go play for the San Francisco 49ers. So that should be an interesting signing that they do have there. Another one that's out there is Josh Gordon. So Josh Gordon is signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm more so happy for this one because he was battling so much with the weed, as Stephen A. Smith likes to say. So just being able to see him sign again, I'm hoping that this time he can end up do well. Just playing. He was a great player for the Cleveland Browns. For all of you that know, he led the league in receiving one year too, but just off the field stuff got in the way. So I'm hoping that Kansas City can be a place that he can learn from Tyreek Hill, learn from Travis Kelce, learn from Patrick Mahomes, and even listen and learn from Tyrann Mathieu and the rest of them on defense. He can learn something from. He can learn a lot from Coach Andy Reid. So we're hoping for the best with Josh Gordon over here. He's been an exciting player going over into the NFL world for you all. So a big thing is the vaccination and stuff. So what they have ruled in the Bay Area and also New York, and it got approved that if you are not vaccinated, you can't really play with the team. So what that also means is if you can't play those home games, you will not be getting paid. And if any of you all saw what Draymond Green was wearing, Draymond Green actually had a shirt on that said, you'll basically die if you don't have the vaccine. Not somebody end up killing you, but COVID. We're not getting into the politics if you should or should not get the vaccine, or if you should or should not be vaccinated. I understand when both people talk about it, so we won't dive into that. Just want to end up bringing you the news all the time when it comes to different things that happen in the sports world and different things that will affect the sports moving forward, because a lot of these different sports are playing through COVID right now. So the next thing I want to bring up is Chicago Bears. So the Chicago Bears are more than likely moving out of Soldier Field. Not yet. Their stadium lease isn't up until 2033, but they are able to get out of their lease early if they pay the city $84 million within the next 5 years. I mean, these owners have so much money, so I wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing it anyways to get out of it. But it is something of note because Soldier Field has been a huge place. You remember back in the day when you had the tough linebackers that play there in the cold and you don't want to have to go up against them. So Soldier Field has been one of those memorable places, but they're looking into moving over into Arlington Heights. They did sign and agree to a deal for $197.2 million for area out there. So we'll see if they end up building a stadium out there, what they end up doing. It's a long-term investment with these stadiums. They make so much money year in and year out. Then you have the NFL TV deals too that end up getting funneled into the different organizations. So we'll see what they end up doing over in Chicago. They have Justin Fields, so they do have a future. 2033, if he stays healthy and he ends up being as promising as the Chicago Bears see him being, they could end up potentially having him if they move to a new stadium and stuff. That's 12 years from now. So we'll see if he ends up sticking around that long. But a lot of these organizations have to start thinking about the future when it comes to different things like that. Another thing we talk about on the show is just fantasy football. And then we like to talk about the NFL game picks. So the first thing I want to let everybody know is with the fantasy football, Chuba Hubbard was a big one on the waiver wires for everyone out there. Another one that you need to look into for your fantasy teams, if any of you all do play fantasy football, make sure to look into Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley. So that offense, I've been one that's been on record for years being a huge fan of Josh Allen, and you can just look at what that team is doing out there. They're basically, some people call it the Kansas City Chiefs of Buffalo. Josh Allen, congratulations on the deal. You got Stephon Diggs, so now he's going to get a lot of attention out there. So it's going to leave open Knox. It's going to leave open Sanders. It's going to leave open Beasley. So it just depends on what day that you have them. If you're in PPR, make sure to pick up Cole Beasley out there because Cole Beasley definitely will get a lot of points when it comes to more so receptions. But then he will end up getting a decent amount of receiving yards too. So him, you have Hunter Renfrow. Those are both two big people on those third downs. The quarterback's going to be looking to them. So make sure to end up checking them out. Another one that you want to look at, if they're on your waiver wire, look into Derek Carr and then also look into Kirk Cousins. So Derek Carr currently leads the league in passing yards, but then Kirk Cousins, he's been very consistent. When you have Adam Thielen and then you also have Tyler Conklin and then you have Justin Jefferson, it gives you a lot of weapons. And you have Dalvin Cook coming out the backfield. If Dalvin Cook ever gets injured, you do have Alexander Madison. So he has a lot of weapons that he has to work with out there. So don't be surprised if he continues to put up consistent, solid fantasy points. So that's a big thing over there. If you want to look into tight ends, Gus Everett is one that you can end up checking out. Swartz out in Dallas is another one that can be important. They do have a lot of weapons in Dallas, so don't expect a lot of numbers out of him. And then tight ends are always just so tough every year. So I'm struggling with it too. Like the tight ends, sometimes I have Kyle Pitts in one of my leagues, and Kyle Pitts isn't performing, but the backup I have is Logan Thomas. So got a shout out to the boy Taylor Heineke. Shout out. And Logan Thomas has been putting up points, but you always have to think there's other teams that I have Dallas Goedert. Now he's in a share time with Zach Ertz. So I have to figure out, do I want to try and figure out another tight end or just ride it out with Dallas Goedert? So that's when you have to go to the waiver wire for them. So wide receivers we talked about in terms of like Emmanuel Sanders. Then we also talked about other wide receivers. Cole Beasley is another one. If he's out there, I doubt he is. So Brandon Cooks is one you want to look into too. I had Darnell Mooney, but Mooney hasn't been performing super well this year, so I did let him go. If Michael Thomas is out there, remember, he's on the PUP list. So Michael Thomas will be coming back. Will Fuller is another person that you want to look into. Some of them probably are on people's benches that they stash, just getting them ready. But Will Fuller is another one. If you want to, it's a super, super, super deep flyer that you can choose is Rashad Bateman. on the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know how he's going to perform because he is coming off a surgery that he did have in the offseason. So in Baltimore, it's always just tough when it comes to the pass. They do need to get more pass catchers out there for Lamar Jackson, who we can see, and just continue to look at different Josh Gordon, who knows? I think that's more of just him being able to get back on the field, if anything. But don't be surprised if Josh Gordon does have some relevance in a game. He could end up putting up one game, then things end up going downhill. But that one game will be important if he does end up showing up for it and he does end up playing. So Josh Gordon is another one that you might want to look into just to see. In terms of the running backs, I would probably always say go look at the backups. So because CMC got injured, you want to look at him, Chuba Hubbard, I mean. And then even in Cleveland, like if Nick Chubb ever gets injured, Kareem Hunt's going to be the main one. Look at different backfields. If you want to end up looking at Las Vegas Raiders, because Peyton Barber, shout out, he's been doing a lot over there. Cornell Patterson's another one that I want a lot of you all to just pay attention to and look into, because Cornell Patterson is fantasy relevant, whether it's in the catching game or if it's on the ground. He's been somebody on a lot of teams. They've been trying to figure out the best way to use him. And I think Atlanta has finally found out the correct way to use him. So look at that. If Darrell Henderson's out there, I don't think he is, but Darrell Henderson was doing pretty good. The Rams have a team. I will repeat, the Rams have a team, not just a team that's going to do well this year, but they have a Super Bowl contending team. It's very early, but I will say here, they do have a team that you want to end up watching for. That's just some. I know a lot of your waiver wires have ended, but you can always keep this in mind for next week, or even if you end up having some leagues that they don't necessarily pay attention to the waiver wire, you guys can end up just checking to see if any of them are out there. I know when I check sometimes, like they are. Kirk Cousins more than likely will be there. Derek Carr probably will be there. I don't think both of them are going to be there unless you have a 2 QB league, then they're both gone. I can promise you that. If in that case, maybe you want to pick up Taylor Heineke for a certain week. In terms of defenses for this week, I would say look at the Titans defense. If anything, they're playing the Jets this week. The Bills are another one. If nobody picked them up, check out the Bills. And then even the Panthers might be a decent one. They're playing the Cowboys, so that is kind of difficult, but you can look into the Panthers potentially as a defense that you want to look into. It's very tough because the solid ones that were good last year aren't necessarily good this year. Like the Steelers were a big one of last year. And then also it only takes one game for your defense to go from like 10th to first. If you get like 2-3 interceptions, you get a field goal block, run that back to the house. Or if you get a kick return for a touchdown, run that back to the house. Those are easy ways. Pick six, run that back. Those are easy ways for you to end up having your defense in fantasy move from like the 5th spot all the way up to number 1 or the 10th to number 1. So just always pay attention to those things. We'll go into the picks. And even though Steven's not here, I talked to him earlier, so I have all of his picks and we'll end up talking about that. Just to recap overall so far, so I currently am 28-48, so that puts me at around like 58%. Steven is 24-48, so we're not that far off from each other, and he's at 50% right now. So this week is an important week, but also the first 3 weeks we've been able to feel out how each team is and start to understand. So either our team is just going to do better when we make our picks, or they're going to do worse. Another thing before we start, say shout out to everyone in Philly. Hit me up because I'll be out there this weekend and see that Kansas City Chiefs Philadelphia Eagles game. So let's get it. But the first game I want to talk about is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Bengals. So Steve and I both have the Cincinnati Bengals. The connection between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is real. That defense has been doing pretty good as well. So I do have to say to both of them, they have been doing a great job. And so we got both of them. The Jaguars have a lot to work on. I do have James Robinson in some leagues, so I am hoping that James Robinson does put up numbers. But at the rate it's going, I don't see the Jaguars winning. I could be totally wrong. I've made a lot of mistakes when it comes to choosing teams, but I got the Bengals in this one. Next one is Washington football team against the Atlanta Falcons. So I have the Washington football team winning. Some of this is biased because Taylor Heineke went to the same school I graduated from. So shout out to my quarterback at ODU and shout out to all the Monarchs out there. Steven has the Falcons, so which I can understand as well. It's one of those games that's a toss-up. I am partially leaning on as well the football team's defense to end up bringing it through. So we'll see how that ends up going. But so I have football team, he has the Falcons, and we keep track of this every single week. So we'll be able to show you what we did right, what we did wrong from the week before. Next one is Texans and Bills. This is probably one of the easier ones. Again, I'm always choose the Bills because I rock with Josh Allen since he got drafted. I saw maybe 3 or 4 of his games in college, and I just trust him. But also, it's the Texans. If you have Brandon Cooks, you're probably going to get some good yards because Brandon Cooks has been putting up 90 to 100 receiving yards each week, and he's pretty good in PPR as well as receptions. But we both got the Bills. The Bills are one of those teams that are continuing to prove why they should be a Super Bowl contender. There are a couple of teams in the AFC that can compete with them and rock with them. But I do believe if they continue and building pieces, they will end up getting to that next level. Next one, we have Detroit and Chicago. We both have Detroit. It's just really tough when it comes to the Bears to just see what type of Chicago Bears team you're going to get in general. So we both got the Lions. Me personally, I have Hawkinson. So TJ. So I'm hoping that they can end up pulling it through. But Jared Goff also got the wrong side of that deal. I'm sorry, when you go to Detroit, it doesn't put you in a good situation. But I have Detroit, so does Steven. Panthers, Cowboys. So we both have the Cowboys in this one. I'm a little salty, I will admit, because I tell all my friends this. I had Christian McCaffrey at drafted. So last year, just quick back, last year I ended up winning the fantasy football championship in one of my leagues. I had Christian McCaffrey, he can't really do shit. And it was more so Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen that brought it out. And then I had the kicker for the Buffalo Bills as well. So that did help with it. But I had Christian McCaffrey. So I said, all right, let's run it back, Turbo. Ran it back in, injured, just like it happened last year. So which I should have learned. So it's one of those that no matter what anybody says about Christian McCaffrey, not choosing him. Another thing is not going to choose Saquon. Unless they find a way to get Saquon out of New York in the Big Apple, not choosing him. But we both have the Cowboys. Micah Parsons making a good argument for that Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. Can't go wrong with him at this point right now. And the Cowboys are starting to find themselves. Zeke is starting to get a part of that offense. Schultz and Schwartz doing good over there. Of course, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Amari Cooper, and all of them are good to go, healthy and everything. That's a team. And you have Tony Pollard right behind Ezekiel Elliott. So I can see that. I can see them winning this game. That's a lot of weapons for the Panthers to have to defend. Dak is finding his place and everything like that. Shout out to his hips don't lie that he always want to be doing before the game. But hey, if it gets you the dub, it gets you the dub. Can't say nothing against that. Next one, we have the Colts versus the Dolphins. So Steven has the Colts. Only reason why I will support the Colts this year is because I need that first round pick, Carson. Just stay healthy. Don't cut off the field. But I got the Dolphins in this one. I don't know who the quarterback is going to be, if they're going to go to Jacoby Brissett again or if it's going to be someone else. But I do have the Dolphins, partially leaning on hoping that the defense can come through and then Myles Gaskin can end up pulling something out in the running game. But then also hoping that those receivers, Waddle's been doing good. If you haven't been paying attention, Waddle and Chase are putting up arguments right now. So I do want to see what they end up doing as well. But I have the Dolphins. Steven has the Colts. Next game is the Browns and Vikings. Steven has the Browns. I have the Vikings. So reasoning, I can see both sides. The Browns have a team. They have a defense. Odell Beckham is starting to slowly find his groove. I have the Vikings reason being those two receivers. You can't really go wrong. Yeah, they end up sending Stephon Diggs out of there, but you replace him with Justin Jefferson, who's been doing very well for you this year. Kirk Cousins has been putting up numbers. I can see Kirk Cousins still putting up over 280 passing yards and then having at least 2 touchdowns. They've just been doing very well. The big thing for the Browns that they're going to have to do, they're going to have to stop that run game. If Dalvin Cook is playing or if Alexander Madison's playing, you got to stop the run game and force it to just be Kirk Cousins throwing the ball. When Kirk Cousins is able to get that run game going, it allows them to be two-dimensional, and you don't want the Vikings to be that way. If you can prevent one or the other, you're good. If you can force them to only be running the ball, you can figure something out that way. My next one is Giants Saints. I don't know what Steven was doing when he chose this one, but Steven chose the Giants. And I think part of this is because he's a Saquon Barkley fan, but Steven chose the Giants. I can't choose the Giants because that offensive line is not going to be protecting Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley. And some of the weapons just are getting hurt. Kenny Golladay isn't fully healthy. And then Sterling Shepard isn't playing right now. So you really only have, you have Evan Ingram, who is coming back. You do have Saquon that's back there. But you just got to see what they end up doing with that team overall. I have the Saints in that one. Jameis, just show regular Jameis, man. Show what you just did the first game. You went from good Jameis to interception Jameis. So show me what you got, but also the Saints defense is pretty good. So I got to give it up to the Saints defense on this one. They'll probably end up holding it down. I don't really see the Giants winning. This is when I would be happy to be wrong because I'm a Saquon Barkley fantasy person, and I have them in a couple of leagues, but I don't really see them winning. So if it happens, it happens. Next one, we got Titans Jets. Easy one. I won't even talk about Titans. Zach Wilson throwing up hella interceptions. So many interceptions. Next one, Chiefs Eagles. So I'll be at that game. So shout out again. So going up there this weekend. So I have the Chiefs. Steven has the Chiefs as well. It's another one of those games that you want it so badly when you're a fan of a team for it to start off good and you to be like, all right, let's get it. It's about to be a same old shit, just a different day. And that's how it kind of ended up becoming. They need to do a lot. I tell everybody that secondary, I do not believe in. And this is coming from an Eagles fan, seeing what that secondary was before to now, when it was like the Brian Dawkins era, the Leader Shepard era, Sean Brown, like when you had them, we weren't great, but we were pretty good. You had Asante Samuel at one point. I don't talk about Nnamdi Asomugha. I don't talk about Byron Maxwell either. But we've had decent cornerbacks that can kind of hold their own. I will never forgive what Jim Schwartz did to Eric Rowe or Jalen Mills because they could have been in a way better situation, but you want to put them on islands. But that's beside the point. Going into this right now, watching even the beginning of the game, the Cowboys and the Eagles, my man, CeeDee Lamb just ran straight down the field, right in the middle, and just went up and got it. And I'm like, yep, same thing again. Every single goddamn year doing the same exact shit. So that's one of the reasons why they're going up against Tyreek Hill. They're going up against Travis Kelce and Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming up the backfield. And Patrick Mahomes, they don't even have that many weapons right now. And you over here going to let them get a million yards. I wouldn't even be surprised if they say, all right, Josh, we're playing the Eagles. Yep, get out there. You got this. So Josh Gordon as well is out there. If he scores, I'd be happy just for that. Hell, anybody could score on the Eagles defense at times. I get that their front four is pretty good with the big guys they have, but the front four ain't going to win you the damn game. You still got 7 other people that are still on that team that are behind you, and what the hell are you going to do? So that's the big thing that I want to end up figuring out, how they're going to end up taking care of the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't really have a lot of confidence, but hey, if you got the Eagles, you got it. But I'll be there supporting you from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. I'm hoping they can come through with it, but I don't really have a lot of confidence in that. Next one, we got Cardinals Rams. So NFC West. NFC West is going to have some good games this week. So I have the Rams. Steven has the Cardinals. Surprised Steven to go with the Rams as much as he's an Aaron Donald fan. But the Cardinals, you can't go against them. Like Kyler Murray's doing good. Top 5 in passing yards so far. I have DeAndre Hopkins. He's another one that's been doing very well. My only thing is that Rams offense is good. I get that you got Jalen Jones. I get that you have J.J. Watt. You have a good secondary with you all. But them receivers, I don't know if you watched the Bucs and Rams game, but if you let Matthew Stafford sling that ball and you got Jefferson and you got Jackson streaking down the field, then you got Cooper Kupp and Higbee, and you got Robert Woods, and if Darrell Henderson's healthy, that's an offense for you. And then on the defense, you got Ramsey and Donald holding it down. So you already know Ramsey's going to play up on DeAndre Hopkins, and you just end up got to make sure to force Kyler Murray either to be straight running the ball with James Conner and Chase Edmonds, or you got to make him just a passer. So that's when the front four and front seven, Aaron Donald included, they're going to have to do something to make sure that doesn't happen. But that's a game that I'm looking forward to end up seeing. So Rams, Cardinals, I got the Rams. Steven got the Cardinals. Next one, Seahawks, 49ers. This is another game that isn't as far off as most people might think, but I have the Seahawks. Steven likes the Seahawks, so he's going to go with the Seahawks in that one. The 49ers, their run game has been exposed because some of the running backs are getting injured. It's funny how I dropped Trey Sermon in a good amount of my leagues. Everybody picked up Trey Sermon right now because all the other running backs are injured there. So I'm curious to see how the run game ends up doing for this the 49ers, and then how they can stop DK and then Tyler Lockett. Got a shout out to Russell Wilson. He's been holding it down out there for the passing game. And let's see what Chris Carson can do, because it'll be him against Bosa, a good amount of the time. And I know Chris Carson going to stay in there and have to block too. So we're going to see how they do when it comes to them. But we both got the Seahawks. Next game, Ravens, Broncos. You already know I got to rock with the Ravens on this one. Teddy Two Gloves is going to be playing. But if you look at the games that the Broncos have won, don't go saying so fast that, oh, Drew Lock wouldn't have done this. When the teams that you played in your first 3 games are the teams the Broncos played, a lot of these starting NFL quarterbacks would be able to do a similar thing. So let's just put that out there. So I do have the Ravens in that one. The huge game last week, and people underestimate and don't realize what Lamar Jackson did on that 4th and 18, 4th and 19 to get them in the position to end up kicking the field goal on that go-ahead field goal attempt. The game-winning field goal by Justin Tucker. 66 yards. You can't make that shit up. Like, shout out to Justin Tucker. I remember I looked at my fantasy football. I was like, damn, 66-yard field goal? Sheesh. But, so yeah, I got the Ravens as well. Next game, we got Packers Steelers. I'm surprised Steven didn't go with the Steelers. And that's between like Big Ben, then also Juju is in question, and then we don't really know necessarily what they're going to be doing moving forward. The defense I thought was going to be solid coming into the year, but it's not as good as it was supposed to be, I guess you can end up saying. But we both got the Packers on that one. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams found that chemistry again this year and found that zone. You're not stopping them too. But the big thing is just shut out Devontae. It's easier said than done. But if there's a team that can do it, the Steelers can do it. Put a cornerback on him, shadow him over with Fitzpatrick, and then see how that forces them to end up throwing to those receivers. You need to let either Tunyon or like Valdez-Scantling or somebody else, let one of them beat you. Don't let it be Devontae Adams. Then you also have Aaron Jones out the backfield. So see what they can end up doing with that. But force Aaron Rodgers, easier said than done, to be one-dimensional. You're going to need a lot of help from your linebackers and your linemen for any of this to end up coming true. Next one you got is the Bucs versus Pats. So we both got the Bucs on that one. Patriots, they're making this out to be a bigger game than what it is going to be, because you already know the Buccaneers going to come in there, handle business, go home, peace. But it's going to be a big game for Tom Brady. It's going to be a huge for Tom Brady. I've talked to a couple of Patriots fans. It's a big game just for him going back home. The Patriots, it's going to be mixed. The Patriots going to want to see Tom Brady win, but then they're also going to want to support Mac Jones, see if he can end up being the next person. First, I thought it was Jimmy G, but they got rid of him, and now they got Mac Jones. So we'll see what Mac Jones can do. He can't turn the ball over. That's a big thing as well. If he turns the ball over this game, it's going to be a wrap quickly. That defense seemed to come alive. I thought the defense was going to be good this year because they made it seem like all these players were not going to be playing due to COVID last year. So they're going to be back this year, and it's going to be like that team that happened 2 years ago. No, as of right now, not the case. They had one game that they had all those interceptions, and that was it. And that was against the Jets. So put the brakes on. But next game, we both had the Bucs in that one. Final game is Raiders versus Chargers. So Steven has the Raiders, and I have the Chargers. I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. I like what he's been doing out there. I like what the new coach has been doing. I he's been connecting with Keenan Allen and he's been connecting with Mike Williams. So let's see if that continues as the season continues to progress. You got Austin Eckler out there. So they have a good team. And I want to see if they can continue with that moving forward. So that's it. Everything for the NFL picks. Big thing you want to end up start tuning into. You'll start to see more media coverage and focus when it comes to the NBA. The NBA is right around the corner. It's about to be October and November. So let's get it. And then you got to start looking at how a lot of these teams are working together, and don't necessarily listen to all the rumors, but if you ever can catch like some practices, film time, you can catch training camp, anything like that. The small things matter, and seeing how they are on and off the court is a big thing. I did like to see at the Rams Bucks game, you saw the Clippers players sitting together, you saw the Lakers players sitting together, then you saw Draymond. Draymond just is Draymond. So don't pay any mind to that. Draymond just going to do Draymond. Lakers not trying to get Draymond. They don't have the money. That's a big reason. But the Warriors got their own team. So that'll be interesting to see all them California teams, like Sacramento's on the rise. You got the Lakers and the Clippers that are both trying to end up building a team. Russell Westbrook said, hell no, I was never going to the Clippers. You have the Golden State Warriors that it'll be really interesting to see when Klay Thompson ends up coming back. So I am excited to see him back on the court. They got Iggy back out there too. He's not the same Iggy, so pump the brakes on that. But a couple of things I end up wanting to bring up. So congratulations, and I'm really happy for what LaMelo Ball is doing, creating that scholarship fund. I think it is really good when you see these athletes end up supporting the youth that want to go to school and giving them opportunities that they probably wouldn't necessarily have. So I do want to say congratulations, shout out to them. I also was reading an article about different sponsorships. So you all see the patches on the jerseys of the NBA teams, and some people use it to generate more revenue. That's the end goal of like any company, to generate revenue. But it's really different how different businesses use those patches compared to what I noticed that cryptocurrency companies are going to do. Cryptocurrency companies are going to get their money regardless. But I think with them, they can do it more so from a brand awareness and the whole space awareness type of thing, which I do appreciate. You see like crypto.com doing it, you see FTX doing it. So it's great to see those different companies working with the different professional sports organizations, and to have it, like I said, you have the Philadelphia 76ers doing it, then you have the Portland Trailblazers doing it. So those different exchanges and companies are going to do it for a big point of brand awareness. So I do got to say congratulations to those crypto exchanges and those companies out there that are doing that. But then you also have different companies saying, I was reading Joe Pompliano. He was talking about this, saying that some of the organizations pay for it, but they don't renew their deals. And the reason being, they're not getting the money that they expected to get out of it. So it wasn't worth it to them to renew or extend their sponsorship they did have. So that's a big thing that has become something of note, because you see how much money people are generating from putting their name on the buildings, but then also having like their banners and stuff around the arena. But then you see the patches and you would think that they're going to make a lot from it, because let's say Shift Movement gets their patch on one of the jerseys. You're going to think if we had that money to put out, we're going to get a good return on our investment. And that ROI hasn't been adding up when it comes to that. So we'll see how it ends up doing moving forward this time around. I thought that was just cool to note that Pomp brought up. So that's really everything. The other thing I just want to end up letting everybody know is don't get disappointed or don't get down when it comes to the cryptocurrency market right now. If you're down because of the cryptocurrency market right now, you're a new trader, you're a new investor, because I've seen this market since $3,000 at one point. Last year, it was $3,000, but I've also seen it at lower points when it was increasing. even in 2017. So a lot of this stuff, when a lot of people text me or a lot of people email me or hit me up on Twitter, I'm not fazed by any of this. One, because I've been in this market for a minute. I won't say I'm an OG. I would say I'm a middle tier person that has continued to end up learning more about the cryptocurrency market month in and month out than year in and year out. But I would honestly say that this is a market that a lot of people shouldn't be concerned about or worried about moving forward. Another thing I'll say about it is start to pay attention to new cryptocurrencies that are out there. Like you have Demetria, so shout out to them. You have Unison that's doing big things. You have Leaf Zero that's about to come out. Congratulations to Busta Rhymes and everybody over there at The Hustle. So you got to see what they're doing. Listen is another one that's coming about. But then you also have your OG ones that have been around for a while. You have your Ethereum. Chainlink has been around for a minute. You have Litecoin that is starting to fall. IOTA's starting to fall. EOS is starting to fall. You have the OGs that I personally love. Utrust and Cody are two of them. I didn't bring up Cyrus. So that's another one. Sorry, Cirrus. But there's a lot of them out there. Just do your research, do your due diligence, make sure you end up looking into it. Don't go off of what one person says. I need you to understand that. Let me say it again so everybody realizes that. When it comes to investing in a cryptocurrency, do your own research. Here at We Got Next, we try to give you enough quality information and also shifting with digital. So check us out on Twitter. We try to provide threads. We also bring a lot of these people on the show so that you all can learn more about the different cryptocurrencies and you get to put a name and a face to the company. So that's why we like to have Tyler on here. That's why with Utu, we had Mike Chen on here. That's why we had Gray Token and them on here. We like to bring these people on, even like Chris with Conflux and then Leo at Pangolin. We like to bring these people on so that you get to learn about these cryptocurrencies and see who is the person behind it. So that's a huge reason why we do this and something that you all can start to understand. We put out Medium articles, but don't just look at it from us. If you look at any essay or research paper or thesis, it's not just one reference. They use a bunch of them. Why? Do your own research. Should be using a bunch of different sources to end up coming up with your conclusion of what you are going to invest in and what you don't think is a smart thing to invest in. Something else I want to say, because some people claim I don't put this out there, this is not financial advice. This is more so just giving you all information and tips and suggestions for you all to look into things. And that's something that I believe everybody should do. Whether it's in this market, whether it's in a foreign exchange market, anything, I think that you all should take time to read. Reading is a powerful tool that not a lot of people do. So I would encourage everybody out there to listen, read, and just take a moment to end up looking into these cryptocurrencies. I didn't just look into Unison overnight. I looked into Unison over weeks to find out more information about them. There are some, of course, like you have your meme coins and stuff, you can throw money in. Sometimes you'll make it, sometimes you won't. But that's the name of the game of meme coins. There's different levels to gambling. Stock market is gambling. Cryptocurrency, you're throwing money in there. It just depends on how you do it. But then when you do some meme coins, you're just hoping and praying that it's going to go up because the wave and everybody else in the social world is going to end up talking about it. So that's my big thing with that. I'll get off of that educational aspect. And another thing, just continue to pay attention to is pay attention to the links that you start to see within cryptocurrency and then sports. We brought this channel up for a reason because there are going to be so many. You see Saquon Barkley, you see Mark Cuban. You see a lot of athletes get into NFTs, and that's something else I want to talk about. Do research on NFTs. If you don't have a Discord, get a Discord. I would strongly recommend it. I have probably tons of Discord groups that I'm a part of, and it does help. Listen to what people have to say, look at the Discord, research it, see if there's a purpose behind it, see how many they're going to have, and just see if people are talking about it or if it's something that can end up going into the metaverse of sorts. So I know a big one is Artifact that's out there. They're doing a lot with the metaverse. You can see what like Luxo and Dematerialize is doing. So they're also trying to, they're not trying, I apologize. They are going to be a big part of the metaverse. So just pay attention to them, pay attention to like universal profiles, listen to what Facebook is doing. Although I don't support what they're going to do, the intention and where they're trying to get to is a big thing that you all should end up paying attention to and looking into. Other than that, I think that's it. I wanted to end up giving you all a little bit of information and tips, just so you all know how to move forward within this bull market. I have been on record a bunch of times believing that Bitcoin is going to hit over 100,000. I made bets with people and told them that Bitcoin, if it doesn't hit 100,000, I'm not going to make realistic expectation. Well, not realistic expectation, set goals or predictions when it comes to Bitcoin. But I do believe it'll hit 100,000. My personal one that I believe Bitcoin will hit is 140,000. I believe that's what I told two of my board members that it'll hit. So don't be surprised if or when and how it goes about hitting that. It will be a lot more acceptance and you will start to see it. Congratulations to there was a city in Missouri that mayor said, we about to get y'all some Bitcoin. So congratulations to them as well. But with that, that's everything. Happy birthday, Pops. Just want to say that once again, I appreciate all that you do. Got to say, shout out to the other half of We Got Next. Check out his quick slants that he does weekly. Congratulations to Penn State. Each and every week, they keep winning. I think they said it best. All we do is win. But check out Steven's quick slants out there on Spotify. And with that, that's everything. We got next, Christian Hayes. We out.